about it being theater when Trump sent troops to the border in 2018?
I feel that Donald Trump did the best job in my political lifetime. When Donald Trump did something, it worked. Everything he did, as Ted suggested, worked. The Triangle Agreement with the three Northern Triangle countries where they would process asylum claims took the problem off the table. You had the lowest illegal crossings in December of 2020, as Senator Cruz said, in 45 years. So I would suggest that if you want to compare the Trump performance on the border to Biden, it's an easy comparison to make. What am I urging the Biden administration to do? Because Trump did it doesn't mean you can't do it. Your country is being destroyed by illegal immigration. Your own democratic cities are being overwhelmed. As Ted and John have talked about, the human misery is beyond one's imagination. You can literally repeat what Trump did to gain control over the situation if you chose to. Now, why can't they do that? Because the radical left owns this administration. The parole policies are being pushed by people who want everybody in the world to come here. The change in border policy was driven by a group of people on the left of the Democratic Party that believes we should have open borders. And if you don't get that by now, you have missed a lot.
Let me add something on that. Look, sending troops to the border can have an enormous positive effect. There's no doubt boots on the ground matter, whether it is military troops, whether it is National Guard, whether it is Texas DPS officers, whether it's Border Patrol agents. Boots on the ground are an important part of how you secure the border. However, under Joe Biden, the 1,500 troops he's sending will accomplish nothing to secure the border, and they're not designed to, and here's why. The troops on the border are beneficial if you have a policy that when you apprehend someone, you deport them. Then the troops on the border are helpful for apprehending people coming across. As long as the Biden administration keeps in place catch and release, he could send 1,500 troops, he could send 10,000 troops, he could send 100,000 troops. It would do nothing to secure the border. Why? Because every illegal immigrant they encounter, they would hand over to the Biden administration, and the Biden administration would let them go. Actually, more than let them go, would put them on a plane or put them on a bus and take them to whatever city in America they want to go to. Joe Biden is the last mile of the human trafficking network. And to understand just how horrific it is, I'd encourage you to go back to Alejandro Mayorkas' testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which all three of us vigorously questioned him at the time. And there was one moment in that questioning when I put up a poster board, and it had a series of pictures of colored wristbands. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Secretary, what are these colored wristbands? And his answer, he said, I don't know. I have no idea. I got to admit, that answer actually surprised me. Very little he said in that hearing surprised me. That answer astonished me. And my response to him, I said, Mr. Secretary, you have just told the American people that you are utterly incompetent at your job, and you do not even care about doing it. Why? Because just about every illegal immigrant who crosses the border has one of those colored wristbands around their wrist. If you stand on the banks of the Rio Grande, as I have, as Lindsey has, as John has, you'll see hundreds, you'll see thousands of colored wristbands in the grass. For him to say he didn't know what they are tells me he's never stood on the banks of the Rio Grande. He's never even bothered to ask the Border Patrol agents, hey, what's going on here? The colors on the wristband correspond to how many thousands of dollars the illegal immigrants owe the cartels. Virtually all of them come in massive debt to the cartels. And the color coding, look, for the cartels, these are not human beings, these are cargo. That's how they treat them. And you have teenage boys who come in, they owe $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to the cartels. The Biden administration sends them to your city, whatever your city is, they send them there. And those teenage boys are working for the drug cartels, and they have to work for the drug cartels because they'll murder their families back home if they don't. So every city in America is getting an influx of criminals working for the drug cartels, courtesy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I'll tell you, as bad as it is for the boys, the girls have it a lot worse. There are thousands upon thousands of girls in sex slavery right now, in forced prostitution. I look at those wristbands as modern-day leg irons. And for the Secretary of Homeland Security to say, I don't even know what they are, tells you that he has not spent one day going into the office saying, I'm going to do my job today. Tell me what's happening at the border and how we stop it. He's not trying to stop it. The administration rather is trying to accelerate it and create even more illegal immigration.